What's up, guys?
On this week's show,
Breaking Bad, the movie,
Diablo Immortal Backlash,
and The Fast and the Furious in the 80's,
plus
Dumb Shit of the Week.
All that and more on this episode
of One Giant Leap for Geeks.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for
Geeks. Welcome to another episode of OGLFG, where we talk about movies, video games, and all things in geek culture. I'm your host, Mike C. Squared, and with me are my co-hosts, Benoit.
Hey.
And DJ Bellymel.
Hey!
You had to out-hate.
Rude, trying to steal my catchphrase.
Hey.
Right. See, I don't have a cool little thing that I do, though, so...
I do something different every week, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but see, I don't have anything, though. I feel kind of left out now.
You have the whole production.
Sure, that's an easy soundbite you can use. Like, yeah, sure. Just take one of my 20-some-odd dick jokes. I'm sure. Just use that. Before we get started, we got to go into something a little bit on the serious side. Nothing too bad. I'm not going to bring the mood down too much. But I did want to bring up, as you've probably heard or saw on the news or something, there was a mass shooting and now a bunch of wildfires that are burning in Thousand Oaks, California. Some friends of the show of ours, Trisha and Shauna, live out in those parts. And we just want to, send you our love, and we hope that you guys are, okay, and that you and your families remain safe. We can't wait to hear from you again, and we hope everything is okay. If you want to, I know that they have put out a tweet talking about this, but if you want to help, you can donate through, the Red Cross or Salvation Army. Try to, I don't know, like I'm always wary about, telling people to support GoFundMe's because you can't guarantee that money's going to get to the people it's supposed to.
No, some of those are bogus.
Yeah, so, just try and do something that's, nationwide and like a trusted source if you're going to, try and donate in any kind of way. As well, if you're affected by either the shooting or the wildfires, you can call the Disaster Distress Helpline at 1-800-985-5990 or text Talk With Us to 66746. I just wanted to bring, a little bit more attention to that, and just put out in the universe that, we're thinking about you guys and we hope that you're doing okay, because I can't imagine... going through, like a shooting at a restaurant right in, the town that you live in, and then the goddamn town burning to the ground, like a week later.
Pretty rough.
Yeah, so, yeah, just wanted to, give shout outs to Trisha and Shauna and just, any of our other, podcast friends in the Powder family that, may live out in that area. We hope you are all doing okay and that you're all safe.
Same for any of our listeners that are out there.
Yeah, as well. Yeah. But anywho, I have no good segue out of that one. Breaking Bad was probably, if not one of, like, the best goddamn thing on TV when it was out. And they are actually going to be making a movie, apparently.
Is it going to have Cranston in it?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm jumping the gun again.
Okay. Now, hang on. Okay, so I'm getting this from CNN.com. They said yes. It's Bryan Cranston himself talking about it. Yes, there appears to be a movie version of Breaking Bad, but I honestly have not read the script. Cranston said, "I have not gotten the script. I have not read the script. So there's the question of whether or not we'll even see Walter White in this movie. Think about that one." And they go on to say in the article, it's a great story, and there's a lot of people who felt they wanted to see some kind of completion to some of these storylines that were left open. And this idea, from what I'm told, gets into at least a couple of the characters who were not completed as far as their journey, Cranston said. According to the Hollywood Reporter, it's unclear whether the film will be for the big screen or television. I'm excited about it because it's Breaking Bad, and it was the greatest professional period of my life, Cranston said. I can't wait to see all those people again, even if I just come by to visit. Now, like a little synopsis. There's apparently, according to, I'm getting this from GeekTyrant.com. It says, according to the report, the Breaking Bad movie will be a sequel to the series that is set after the events of the series finale. Remember when Jesse rides off into the night crying, laughing maniacally at the end of the series? Well, Jesse's story will continue with this movie. It was already revealed that the movie would follow the escape of a kidnapped man in his quest for freedom. Turns out that kidnapped man will be Jesse, and the story will follow his escape from Albuquerque following the bloody events of the series finale. So, maybe? To answer your question?
I'm about to just totally blow your mind here.
Okay.
Bryan Cranston is the only thing that I know about Breaking Bad.
You've not seen Breaking Bad?
No, not a single
Better Call
episode.
Saul, none of that either?
No, I
No?
don't even know what that is.
Oh, God. It's a spinoff. Well, yeah, if you haven't seen it, then yeah, it makes sense. Better Call Saul is a spinoff from Breaking Bad. Saul, is it Goodman? I think is his character's name.
I don't remember.
Yeah, he was Walter White's lawyer in the show, and yeah, he has his own spin-off thing that, you know, he's got going, but I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, I like Jesse as a character. I thought that him and Walter's relationship is what made that show, but I don't necessarily know how I would feel about seeing a movie without Walter White in it. Like, Bryan Cranston is Breaking Bad.
Right. Like I said, that is the only thing that I know about
Exactly.
Breaking Bad.
He's like, you're goddamn right. Like, come on, man. That
Can you have one without the other?
I don't know.
Well, why not? Why not?
I don't know. It's just because I like Jesse, but I don't know if I liked his character enough to want to see him as the main protagonist. I like how he plays off of Walter and their relationship that they have, but besides his relationship with Walter, I can't see, you know, any other character that he would pair up well with. You know, and from what Bryan Cranston is saying, like, you know, he hasn't even seen a script for it, so he might not be in this shit at all, you know.
Well, Walter White is already dead. So
Yeah.
if this were to be a sequel.
Yeah, I mean, I at least in my mind, I always tried to feel like it was kind of left ambiguous, like, well, he might have got, you know, the police might have got to him in time and was able to save him. Maybe he died from his, you know, wounds, who knows, but...
Oh, no, he did.
Yeah. Well, Bryan Cranston has come out and said that, yeah, Walter's dead. And I'm like, well, I would like to believe that he didn't die, okay?
Well, besides, Bryan Cranston's already busy on Broadway. If this were in the works to debut anytime soon, he wouldn't be able to do it. Yeah, he's currently doing an adaptation of the 1970s film Network.
Oh, that's
shit.
cool.
Yeah. That classic from, I think,
yeah.
76, I think it came out.
Yeah, because that's the one where the news anchor, he's like, I'm mad as hell and you should be too, or something like that, right?
Yeah, that's the one with, it's pretty much like not a parody, but it's a, it's a satire about, like a flailing network that's not doing really good, so yeah.
Yeah, okay,
if you've not seen that film,
and then he
that
starts
film.
to have like these tirades on the air and they get better ratings and shit, and it's, no, I remember that movie. That's cool. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with it. You know, like we don't have any kind of confirmed anything. No one's come out and even, you know, said, yeah, we're making it tomorrow or some shit. Like,
right.
So it's still kind of up in the air. But hopefully Bryan Cranston comes back, because I don't know. Like, I don't really want to see anything that comes on the screen that says Breaking Bad and Walter's not in it. It's gonna bother me. But anyhow, moving on. It's a sad day for a few reasons. One, as I'm sure everybody knows, you know, we lost the man, the myth, the legend, Stan Lee. But it is also a sad day because Venom is doing really, really well in the theaters. And it's really bothering me. Because you know how I feel about this shit.
I know.
It has to fail, because if it doesn't, all it's going to do is tell Sony to keep making more Spider-Man movies without Spider-Man. I can't want this to win. It has to fail on like every conceivable level. We can't have
Breaking Bad without Walter White. We can't have Venom without Spider-Man.
Thank you. Just like it, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to be optimistic about that Joker movie, but even with that, it's like you can't have Joker without Batman. Like it don't. I don't know, but Gotham's doing it, so.
Hey, you know.
They got his whole rogues gallery and shit. Isn't Penguin in that and Riddler too?
Mm-hmm. They're all there.
It's like, Jesus fucking
Mad
Christ.
Hatter and Scarecrow and everybody's there.
Jesus. Okay, anyway. I swear, the joke still stands. Every episode, we find some kind of way to talk about Batman in some form or fashion.
I mean, you really can't talk about comics without talking about Batman.
No.
I could.
No, you can. Batman is awesome, but...
I'm just saying.
Coming from like...
You want to talk about comics. I know you had to have seen the images. Somebody had drew like a lot of the Marvel characters at the funeral, like outside of...
Yes!
Dude,
yes!
Good guys, bad guys, like... Oh.
Did you see the one of Thanos, and he's standing at Stan's grave, and it says, it was supposed to be half the universe, not the entire universe.
Damn.
Stan.
Oh,
I think I actually saved that one. Damn. Let me see if I've got it, and then I will send it to you guys.
Sad. I don't want to see that.
Okay. So find it, keep it in your holster.
I will.
Okay.
I don't want to cry on air.
Oh man, that's crazy. Okay. So let's get to this other stuff, and then we'll talk about Stan. So I'm getting this from CBR.com. It says the Tom Hardy-led film managed to surpass initial expectations and earn an astounding $111 million over its opening weekend. This is in China, mind you. That marks the second biggest opening for a superhero film in China ever, behind only Marvel Studios' Avengers Infinity War. Adding the $111 million from China, Venom is now sitting at $673.5 million globally. So well on its way to maybe hit. I swear to God, Venom makes $1 billion fucking dollars. You have no idea how mad I'm gonna be. Like, I just want to put that out there.
But China has like 500 million people, so it's not that hard.
Sure. To be fair, sure. But again, there's been a lot of other superhero movies that have come out, that at least I would think objectively are better than Venom. And like I said, Venom is the second highest grossing movie or biggest opening. Now, we don't know what it's going to do, come next weekend, but as far as this past weekend, it just opened in China because it's already been out for about a month and some change now, but in the U.S. But
it's still at the theater.
Yeah, but it just opened for the first time over there, though.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, so yeah, it's still got new markets to hit to make its money. But they just said that Venom's opening in China also puts its global total past that of Justice League, which earned almost $658 million worldwide. It's an impressive feat for a film that saw plenty of fan backlash when it was first announced. It's also a show of strength for Sony and its Spider-Man-less Spider-Man-verse. Meaning is doubtful we'll see Marvel Studios reacquire the Spider-Man license anytime soon. So yeah, basically what this means is we're going to get a sequel almost guaranteed at this point.
Well, we kind of already knew that.
Did we though?
We knew that the way that they left it, they were gonna.
They want to make a sequel. That don't mean that they're gonna make a sequel. They left a opening at the end of that Dracula 2000 movie where the dude comes and he's like, "Let the games begin," and nothing ever came of that shit. So,
I don't know.
But I just want to say I am so disappointed in you, China. Like, I like a lot of stuff that comes out of China, and y'all fucking up right now.
Well, dang.
Y'all fucking up
man,
big time.
That just made me think of something that's kind of nasty. Yeah. I got to thinking about like China the wrestler.
Oh God.
What about China the wrestler?
Because I was saying I like a lot of stuff that's
coming out in China.
Yeah.
No, like for real. I mean, I'm not surprised. I said like what 500 million. I think China is like over 1 billion people, like legit. So
yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
Anything. even good or bad, anything that even a quarter of that population watched was going to make money.
Yeah. Yeah. But, I mean, honestly, because the Transformers franchise has survived almost exclusively off the Chinese box office, you know, I'm like, people in the U.S. have steadily stopped going to see the Transformers movies, but the reason they keep making more is because they're so popular in China. So, like you said, if just a fraction, you know, of those people go see a movie, then it's going to do big numbers worldwide just off of that one country alone.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what happens when your country has all kind of different people in it.
But I think the thing, too, though, is, you know, there's things that are super popular in foreign countries that aren't necessarily all that popular here. So
that's true.
I've always kind of wrote off the whole Transformers being popular over there thing as, well, they like the whole, you know, mecha, you know, thing and kaiju and all that shit. So any kind of
that's
giant.
That's more Japanese, though.
Yeah, I guess you got a point.
And Japan and China haven't always been on, you know, copacetic terms.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like, and I could be totally talking out of my ass. I feel like though that the Chinese audiences like the mecha movies though as well, because they always seem to do good over in China. Like even what was that movie? Pacific Rim. Like the whole reason.
Oh yeah, that did real good in China.
Pacific Rim 2 was because it did so well over there. It didn't do all that well here. Either way, I'm still upset with China. Like y'all can't look. If we're gonna continue making these movies just to appease a certain market, then just release the movies there. And then I don't have to see the shit, and then, or just do exclusive contracts to say like, hey, we're gonna do, you know, these Venom spin-off movies or whatever, and they're only gonna air in China because that's where people want to see that shit at. I don't know. I know a lot of people downvoted our episode that I talked about Venom because I think I have the dissenting opinion, and more people like it than what I anticipated. I guess.
Right.
Yeah, it's trash. But.
Well, if you end up tanking our show, me and Mel could just go on our own way, do our own thing.
Right. Right.
And if every person of legal adult age in China would give us $1 US, we wouldn't have to podcast at all.
Oh my God, yeah. You look, that's asking too much. A quarter. If every person gave us a quarter, I would be more than straight. Like, thank you.
If I had a quarter for every person in China, shit, you wouldn't hear me say that.
Hell no. But yeah, that's a little fun tidbit of information. So yeah, pretty much, yeah, Spider-Man's never going to be in the MCU. Like, we're only going to get him on loan for like maybe 2 more movies.
Yep, and that's going to be it.
I just want to say we need a sequel to Big Trouble in Little China. And that's it. Just putting that out there.
You know, you say that, but I'm pretty sure we're getting a remake. I don't know for sure. Don't totally quote me on that, but I think that's the case. I think so. Anyway, moving on.
Moving on.
I feel like anytime we talk about games, it's always something where it's like the worst like possible scenario could be, or it's always like something negative like associated with it. Okay, so basically, if you haven't heard, or if you're not in like the gaming circles and don't know what these things are, BlizzCon is basically this convention that this game developer Blizzard does every year, and they show either new games they're coming out with or something. It's basically kind of like Apple's like product launch thing when they come out and just did the new iPhone and all that shit.
Right.
Now Blizzard makes games like Diablo, Overwatch, and stuff like that. It's they lean more towards PC, but they're really popular on consoles too. Anyway, Diablo, which is an RPG game, that's probably their most popular game, like hands down. I think it's on Diablo 3 right now. And
I don't know. I think World of Warcraft may still
you think
be
so?
number one for them.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Either way, it's one of their, I guess, just to say, most popular IPs. And basically, there had been rumblings that there was going to be some kind of Diablo announcement at this year's BlizzCon, and there was, just not the announcement that people were expecting. They basically came out and announced that they were doing a freemium mobile game called Diablo Immortal, and they had no plans currently to make any PC or console versions of said game, and this was just strictly, for mobile. And people were audibly upset, like to the point where these motherfuckers were booing them, like at their own convention. Which,
well, damn.
If because I know not a lot of people follow this stuff per se that aren't like hardcore into games and shit, but just think about if when Steve Jobs came out and announced like the iPhone 4 or some shit, and people started booing him on the stage, like that would be about tantamount to like what this experience was. And like it was kind of funny and kind of like cringy at the same time, because after they made the announcement, they let people come up and ask questions and shit.
Sure.
And one guy goes, is this an out of season April Fool's joke or something like that? And
damn.
Yeah, I know. And it was so embarrassing and shit. And then like one of the developers up there on the stage, he goes, what, you guys don't have any phones or something like that? And I'm just like, that shows a tone deafness to me of your audience.
Sure.
Because if to try to relate it to something else, like if your favorite movie series franchise, or suddenly you say like, oh, we got a new one coming out, but it's going to be a TV movie on the Lifetime channel, or some Christmas special bullshit.
Right.
It's like, I'm not faulting them for doing that. I just think that they just went about it the wrong way. The announcement was wrong. Like, you can't, in 2018, you can't just put out a mobile game with no mention of a main console or PC title at all.
Sure.
Like, for example, when Bethesda released Fallout 4, they had the Fallout Shelter mobile game that came out with it.
Right.
And it made sense because it's like, hey, you got this other little thing, but then there's still a main game for you to play.
Right.
But we're not taking away from that. Blizzard didn't do that. They're just like, we're putting this out, and then they announced it at the end of the con too, where it's just like, guys, it should have been like the first thing, get over the shock of that, and then maybe something else that you announce during the convention might make people not be so upset about it, because like the hardcore fans are, pissed off because they're like, this is a very big, very rich and developed, game, and the world and lore is very thick and deep, and I don't want to have to be using, my phone to play it and shit like that, and it's going to be a condensed, less quality version of the game on the phone.
And those that are hardcore gamers prefer a console.
Yeah, or a PC.
Or a PC or something.
Nobody.
You don't play hardcore games on your phone.
Right. There are RPGs for the phone. There's tactical shooters. There's first-person shooter games for your phone. But I don't think it's the same. Maybe our kids might grow up used to playing, shit like that, like World of Warcraft on a phone. Maybe. Or League of Legends or some shit.
Well, good parents are going to teach
their.
I would say good parents are going to teach their children what a console is.
Right.
But
Yeah.
You don't go to a convention with your main thing being, hey, we have a new mobile game.
Yes.
No, mobile is something that it's fine to announce something like that when you have an audience. If it's, say, a mobile adaptation of one of your already created IPs, to make it easier, to make it more suitable, to make it more engageable with your audience. Mm-hmm. But let's put it this way. You said Blizzard does have a couple games on console, and it's true. But Blizzard is technically PC gaming.
Oh, yeah,
That's
sure.
what it is. Mm-hmm. And if you go to a bunch of hardcore PC gamers and say,
right,
hey,
which they already own
your...
that, PC Master Race shit to begin with.
Exactly. If you're going to go say, hey, now you can play this new game, we've taken all this time and resources to develop something for your phone, they're not going to give a shit. They're not.
Nope.
Now, it's one thing like how you took PUBG and made it playable on a phone, or Fortnite and you can play it on a phone. Yeah, it's something that's already there and you've given more people access to it mobily. But you don't launch a mobile title, period, as like your main event. No, especially with a company that is based primarily in PC gaming. No.
Yeah,
you don't.
You can't make a mobile game your flagship game. You can't.
This was a major misstep, and it's insulting that whomever it was that said, "Oh, you guys don't have a phone." It's insulting that you would think that's what your core base would want to play their fucking games on.
Right. Exactly.
Like I play a little bit of Overwatch with the group. I've played a little bit of Hearthstone. I've never really gotten into Diablo or Warcraft,
sure.
But it's like I can understand where the crowd was coming from that booed the shit out of them, because I would have probably fucking threw a chair. Who knows?
You'd have been that guy from that Bush press conference.
I threw a fucking chair.
He's like throwing his
I'll say
shoes
he'd be
at
the one
dude.
that would bring tomatoes.
Yep, yeah.
I'd Bobby Knight right in the middle of fucking center court, just throw a chair.
Right. But yeah, no, I mean, but to be fair to Blizzard now, because I wanted to play devil's advocate and play both sides of this. To be fair to the developer, it financially makes sense for them to make a mobile game because, okay, like just to give you some stats here, Pokemon Go, as annoying as that game is, has earned almost $2 billion in the last 2 years.
Jesus. From
like, microtransactions and shit in the game. Fallout Shelter, the game I talked about earlier, added $90 million to Bethesda. Nearly 80% of Google Play and Apple's App Store combined revenue came from mobile games.
Shit, we're in the wrong business.
We really, truly are. So,
but it's still a matter of playing to your audience.
Yeah, no.
So to a younger demographic, and it made sense because you, as a player, could take the role of Ash, where you would literally just walk around town catching shit. That made sense.
And plus, like that's being adapted from a game that mechanics and not to try and like downplay Pokemon, but Pokemon is no Diablo, so it's like
it's not even that. Pokemon was a handheld game. It came out for the Game Boy.
Yeah, so people are used to playing it.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. It made sense to transfer that from you can still play it like on DS or something, but it makes sense to have a game like that for your phone.
Yeah. No, I agree. And not to say that Blizzard shouldn't have come out with this, but if they didn't have some kind of Diablo 4 announcement, they should have sat on this until they had something ready to release for a main title game before they come out with some, side shit for your phone. Because like I said,
I don't even
eventually
understand.
mobile gaming is going to be the future someday. So it'll catch on eventually, but I don't think we're quite there yet technology-wise to justify that. Nor do I think, like you said, like the hardcore PC gamers are going to have a really hard time accepting a mobile game as like a serious, platform and want to actually play on.
I don't see how you really could something as dynamic as Diablo.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, you already lost some of the functionality when the original one got ported to the PlayStation. So it's like, what are you going to do on mobile?
Yeah, right.
Like, I can't even... I can emulate Mega Man 2 fine on my phone, but it's fucking hard playing that with a touchscreen. So like,
yeah. Playing any game on glass is complicated, at least I think.
I've tried to play Super Mario World on my phone, and you have to, like, the buttons appear over your screen, so you have to try to watch the screen underneath and do your buttons at the same time. It doesn't work for me.
Yeah, anytime you don't have like that tactile feeling against your thumbs, because you kind of, especially growing up with video games, you kind of know, muscle memory, like where the buttons are, what, R2 feels like over R1 and stuff like that. So it's like you don't have to pay attention, but when it's like on your screen and you can't feel it when you're moving, you have to like keep looking away. Yeah, to be like, okay, am I moving up? Am I hitting this button? Like, what am I doing here? At least, I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you're exactly right. When there's no texture to it, there's no physical response that shows that you're actually pulling something off in the game.
Right.
You're using a flat surface with absolutely no response at all. If you're paying too much attention to the game and your thumb's not in the right area, you're going to, like, stop your momentum. You're not going to jump on time. And hell, sometimes those emulators, if you're going to play Super Mario World, aren't that good, and they're not even going to be responsive to the touchscreen.
Yep.
at all anyway.
Yeah,
because
I was like tapping my phone to try to play it. I was all excited when I found it. I was like, this will be awesome. And then I started playing it. I'm like, no, damn it, give me a controller.
Yeah, because it was not designed for this kind of platform to be played on, or, is it being QA tested by anybody? Hey, just be glad we were able to port this shit.
That's true. That's true.
And be happy with that.
I don't even understand how people can play like PUBG or Overwatch or something on a phone anyway. I don't get it. It's already a big enough transition from PC to controller. Mm-hmm. So give me, like, Blizzard, maybe you already have it because I haven't paid enough attention, but give me, like, Hearthstone. I could play on my phone. That makes more sense.
Mm-hmm. Which I think there is. I'm not 100% sure, but I think there is.
Well, I haven't played the game in a long time, so there might be, but still. Yeah. Like, I don't want to play StarCraft or shit on my phone, or Diablo, or anything like that. So, and don't make your big reveal a fucking mobile game. No!
Yeah, y'all could have just had like a little baby press conference for that.
Yeah, I do enough when I'm taking a shit. I don't need to try to engage myself in a half-hour-long fucking dungeon with 4 buttons macroed on a flat surface. No!
Yeah.
I'm good!
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm dying over here.
No, but like that is the reaction that a lot of people had to it, and the only thing that bothers me about it are the people who, like, the gaming journalists and stuff who come and they're like, oh, they're just all entitled babies because they, are mad about this. Maybe they didn't need to necessarily boo, the stage. Maybe they didn't necessarily need to, like, crack jokes.
I'm pretty sure Benoit would have done both of those things.
Right, but still, though, it's like, but I get the frustration, though, as well, because it's obvious cash grab, and it's just playing to, people who are casual, fans or gamers in general at best.
Sure.
That are going to really, but then other people are like, these same motherfuckers are going to go out and,
and
download it anyway and play the shit, so.
And if any journalist with, like, Kotaku, Game Informer, anything, try to, like, knock us as fans for booing, don't let the fact that we might exaggerate our anger deflect from the fact or nullify the fact that we have a valid fucking point as to why we'd complain.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I agree. All right, moving on. We are doing another Ask Us Anything. This week, we are going to try and keep it short and sweet. But we actually had some pretty decent ones. I kept these totally secret from Benoit and DJ Melly Mel, so they have no idea what these questions are going to be. So, and I always love doing any kind of favorite or list thing with Ben because I just love watching him just squirm for like. He's like, wait, no, I don't want to, no.
Wait a minute.
Games are made up and the points don't matter.
That's right.
But okay, so the first one that we got here is going to be from Mixed Media Forest Podcast, and you can find them at Media Forest Cast on Twitter. They said, you get one free toy at your local toy store. What are you walking out with?
Cards Against Humanity.
Really?
Hell yeah, I'm walking out with Cards Against Humanity.
Okay, I mean, that's not bad, but I'm just like, of anything you could have picked, anything. There's no ceiling to this. Cards Against Humanity. Because you would have just got that anyway.
I mean...
Hey, I'm not knocking your choice.
The 27-year-old in me says Cards Against Humanity.
Sure.
The 7-year-old in me says Barbie, so...
Okay, what about you, Benoit?
Define toy.
Let's just say you'd have to be able to purchase it at Toys R Us.
Well, Toys R Us doesn't exist anymore.
Actually, it's being revamped and calling Jeffrey's Toy Chest.
Well, whatever. Back when it was KB Toys, whatever
KB
you want to call it.
No, KB Toys was different. Okay, so something I have to buy at an actual toy store. But anything for free. I mean, odds are it's going to be a console. I just don't know which one yet. It's going to be a console. I can't say. It may be the Switch.
I would say you can say Switch. That's totally fine.
Or the Xbox One or the PS4. I don't know which one.
But one of the more
probably
consoles.
The Switch is more family friendly, has a lot more familiar IPs. Given the circle of people I tend to hang around and game with, it may be more open to multiplayer gaming with them.
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, I might go for the Xbox One probably. But then I'm still having to pay like $60 for a game, so
yeah. Well, I mean, if you'd have to get the live subscription, but sometimes they have.
But then again, I could,
some free.
But if I get the Xbox One, whether I get that or the PS4, I could use either controller for my PC too. So
yeah, that's true.
It's going to be a console. I can't really. I don't know. One of
I told you.
Three. Is that good enough? Is that a good enough answer?
Yeah.
One of three things.
Yeah. No, okay. I mean that works for me. Mine is going to literally be strictly just for nostalgia reasons because I never had one as a kid growing up. I want. Yes, actually, it's funny. DJ Melly Mel's boyfriend is here, and he had sent a text to Mel saying like what he would pick, and it is actually my choice. Mine is strictly nostalgia because I never had one as a kid, but I want one of them motorized like Tonka truck like 4-wheeler things.
Yo,
but my big ass would have to get
wheel?
like
Power wheel?
yeah.
Hey.
But I'd have to get like 2.
No.
And like tie them to each other.
You would fit in one of them. I have a picture of him in a motorized Cadillac.
Okay.
2 years before we got together.
Okay.
Roughly the grown man that you see before you.
Okay.
And he's rolling in a caddy with his hat turned sideways.
Okay. Then I would only need one, but I want like a legit car battery in that bitch. Because I just want that to be my my means of transportation from here going forward.
Can I just have the entire Barbie aisle?
Sure. Well, it says one.
Oh, one.
You get one thing.
No.
Oh, see, and I couldn't even have 2 anyway.
One aisle.
Yeah.
One aisle's a thing.
One aisle's a thing.
Oh well, shit. If we're gonna play the Semantics game now, can I just get one store and just call that good? Okay, so then the next one that we got is from Pipin' Hot Tea Podcast, and you can find them on Twitter at PHT Podcast. They said, what are some things that are okay to do occasionally, but definitely not okay to do every day?
Heroin.
I knew you were going to say something crazy.
Heroin would definitely, yes. What, is it
sorry,
though occasionally?
Sorry, not sorry.
We do not promote drugs on Watch Highly for Geeks.
That's funny. Oh, that's funny.
Something that is okay to do occasionally, but not okay to do every day.
So basically something you can do in moderation.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, booze.
Yeah, sure.
Drink every once in a while. Eat junk food every once in a while.
Mm-hmm. Breathe.
Tweet out racist things if you're a president every once in a while.
Oh no, that's pretty much become like a normal, like every third or fourth day thing at this point. All right, what do you got, Mel?
The one that I can say on the air, or the one that I was busting out for?
Both. I guess. I know. I was gonna say. I was like, wait. What were you laughing at then?
The second one that come to mind was eat pizza rolls. You eat pizza rolls every once in a while, but you shouldn't eat pizza rolls every day.
Sure. Okay. All right.
Yeah, but when pizza's on a bagel, you can eat pizza anytime.
Hey, bagels are totally different characters there.
Just saying.
I said pizza rolls.
I love those. Okay, let's like revise this question though. What could you do in moderation if you had more money? What would you do? So, I mean, a lot of these things we could do, we might do more often if we could afford to.
Go out to dinner.
I'd just say
I would never cook again for the rest of my life.
I'd say just like travel, go on vacation.
Yeah.
That was gonna be mine. I would tell my boss that, I'm taking a week off. You can deal with it.
Right. Like, did I say a week? I'm not coming back.
I'd be like, no. I'm gonna sit in my pajamas and play video games and eat pizza rolls for a week and a half. Goodbye.
Yeah. and play some more video games.
Yes,
right. Pretty much,
that is
like
correct.
Super Mario Land 2, Yoshi's Cookie.
Yes.
Yoshi's Cookie. So let me think. No, mine honestly would probably be strip clubs. Yeah, probably strip clubs. Like I think that
Stay out of the ones in Flint, though.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I heard about some dirty things in Flint.
Oh, shit. All strip clubs are
well,
pretty
this
bad.
you may have already heard about this. This may actually kind of reveal where I'm from. At least, no, okay. Everybody listening, we all do like know each other. We don't live like at the same place, but we're all within 15, 20 minutes apart from each other.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Give or take.
You may have heard this, you may have not. Mel, you may have heard it before, Mike, if either of you have. Stormy Daniels is going to be coming to our Deja Vu.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, there's a big, huge sign that flashes when you drive by.
Right. It's like at every corner, one pops up out of the ground and shit. It's like Beetlejuice.
Now, to be honest, she's more popular now because of the controversy with the affair.
Sure.
But let's be real. Porn stars make the circuit once in a while anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Normally, like, whenever a porn star comes up to the club, they're promoting.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, they make a big deal about it for sure.
Like, I'm pretty sure, this is like 10 years ago. You remember when that Who's Nailin' Palin thing came out?
Yep. Lisa Ann. Yep.
I think Lisa Ann made the circuit, and I think Lisa Ann came up here too, I believe.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I was going to say.
But yeah. But realistically, if you want an honest answer, something that's definitive, as opposed to like, I might buy one of three things, I would probably subscribe to more like really small Twitch streamers. Just to throw them a few bucks once in a while. I'd probably do that.
Sure. Okay.
Just imagine a complete stranger who doesn't know you. You're just playing a video game and some stranger just like drops $5 on you. Like, oh shit.
Yeah, there's a person that was doing that for a while that was like dropping just money like on people's like Twitch streams. It was like $100, $1,000, something crazy like that. I don't know the guy's name, but yeah. But no, I think that strip clubs, like, you could go to a strip club occasionally, but once you start going daily, then you become that weird dude who, like, eats at the strip club and, like, does, like, work at the strip club and shit.
Guy that rides his moped to the strip club.
Right. They know you by name, and you got, like, a seat there.
Yeah. Be like, excuse me, you're in my spot.
Right.
We're at the club, man. What you talking about? My spot.
Well, put that on my bucket list. If I ever found a strip joint that had a buffet, I probably would eat it once just to find out. Like, I've had the shits before. I can do it again.
Right.
Let me try it once.
Okay, but when you die of salmonella, I'm putting that on your tombstone. Let me eat at the strip club buffet.
It's going to be cross-contamination, because I can tell when the chicken's been undercooked, so that's okay.
I didn't say he was going to catch it from chicken.
I wasn't saying I was going to eat it. You know what? Let's not go down this.
I was talking legitimate food, okay? You can get salmonella on vegetables, too.
Well, no, I was thinking, sea life or something, but I'm not going to go down that road.
Okay, yep, okay.
I was like, you just took it way too
far.
Y'all
making my stomach hurt worse than what it did earlier today. I think... Yep. I think, that was the end of that one. So thank you again, guys, for doing this. We really enjoy doing these Ask Me Anythings. If you guys want to send us some questions for, another episode or just something down the road, or just want to say hi in general, you can get a hold of us on Twitter at GiantLeap4Geeks, or email us at officialoglfg@gmail.com.
Please do give us more questions. The more absurd, the better.
Yeah. I really like doing this. No, these have been fun, because I never know what to expect when they come across. So
this is true, especially when you don't send it to us ahead of time.
Hey, I wanted it to be a surprise.
I like surprises in moderation.
Right, in
not
moderation.
Every day.
Yeah, no, see, I know.
Well, yeah, because if you get a surprise every day, it's no longer a surprise.
Exactly.
Well, that could be argued, but we're not going to go there.
Well, it'd have to be a different surprise. Anyway, moving on. In honor of the Bohemian Rhapsody movie that just came out, we are not going to do a review because we have not seen the movie yet. But I did want to talk about it made me think of just music biopics in general, and I wanted to just kind of list off bands that you think deserve to have a movie made about them, or a musician, rap group, whoever, whatever you want to call them, that do not currently have one. It could be any genre you want, any kind of solo artist, group, it doesn't matter. This
was really hard for me. I'm gonna go first, by the way.
Yeah, no, I was like, she jumped all over that shit. I was like, all right, go ahead.
This was really, really hard for me. Like,
you better have a good ass answer.
So many great bands, and then I would think of one, I'd be like, no, there is one for that person. Then I think of another one, I'd be like, no, I think I remember something about theirs too.
Sure.
So I really had to dig, and actually, the one that I'm gonna say is not any of the ones that come across my list.
Okay.
I would like to see a biopic about Pink.
Okay.
I think she's a wonderful, wonderful person and a amazing artist, and I would really like to see not necessarily everything that she faced to get where she got, but I would like to see, maybe some of it. And she's always been my favorite, so I think something about her would be pretty cool.
Okay, extra bony cheat question. Who would you want to play Pink in the biopic?
Oh, hell, I hadn't thought that far yet.
Okay, all right. That's not fair. I didn't give you a chance to think of that.
Yeah, that...
White girl with a mole on her face. I mean, it's pretty obvious.
Who's that?
Queen Amadilla, Natalie Portman.
Oh, God.
No.
Oh, God.
No.
You know what?
What?
You know what, though? I could...
What?
I could see... I don't think that she'd be a good pick, but I could see that being a thing. That they would be like, Oscar-nominated Natalie Portman is Pink. The movie.
No.
Well, I do think that'd be a good idea, just because I remember when Pink first came out, she was like R&B. Like, they tried to sell her like she was a single Beyonce.
Yeah, well, when she started...
eventually she broke off and went like pop rock.
Yeah, well, when she started, before she went off and did her solo thing, she was a part of like a R&B like girl group or something like that. Yeah! Don't you shake your head at me?
She's been
Pink was not
by
a group.
herself the whole
solo.
time.
But her original music was R&B. Like, they
man, I'm telling
her
you, I have seen a Making the Band type shit with her, and she was... Like her manager had her with it was I can't think of what it was called. I'm telling you, like, I'm not crazy. I'm trying to Google this.
I know she did a lot of collaborations.
No, like before she was Pink. Like, I don't even think she even had like her own solo name at this point.
Oh.
Like,
Are
literally
you confusing her with somebody else?
I think he is, because
hang on.
Pink's always been by herself. I know her manager tried to make her like the other girls. Like Brittany, Christina, Mandy Moore.
Oh, no, not like people like that. No.
Like, he tried to make her this pop star wannabe, and she basically told him to go screw himself. Because that's not who she was.
Wait a minute. No, Mike's right.
I know
really?
I am, yes. Okay, yeah. Originally a member of the girl group Choice in 1995, LaFace Records saw potential in Pink and offered her a solo recording contract.
See,
mic drop.
Okay. You were right.
I know.
I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But to be fair, in 95, I was 4 years old. And I didn't know that. I didn't know Pink.
Sure, but that's what I'm saying. No one knew who she was at that point. This was when she was this was like her 8 Mile. This was her doing rap battles and, bars in Detroit, like before she actually made a name for herself.
Well, yeah. But that group Choice was never on MTV.
No,
they were never on BET. No. They were like underground. Yeah, no. That's why I didn't know.
They were very, very, obscure, like indie group who,
LaFace, though, man. L.A. Reid and Babyface, she was on that label. Mm-hmm. Wow.
That's why I said, that's why a lot of her early stuff had so much of that R&B like tint to it, because that's what they were trying to mold her into. Sure. And then she kind of broke away from that and started doing the whole, rock thing. But anyway, we spent way too much time.
Yeah, y'all are like going into it, man.
Go ahead, Bill.
Okay, now this was hard for me too because I was kind of in the same boat. I'm like, who would I want to see a biopic of that hasn't already had one? And I got to thinking about it. Like there was this one for Queen that just recently came out. NWA had Compton. Yeah. I remember it was more a TV movie though about the Temptations, from the 90s. Do you remember that? So I'm thinking. I did a little bit of research because I didn't want to say anybody whom already had one that I wasn't aware of. Like the Beatles had like A Hard Day's Night and stuff like that, but that wasn't really a biopic.
Sure.
And I did not want to include anything that was purely a biography that was aired only on TV. I wanted somebody that actually had a movie. And my first pick would have been the Bee Gees, but they had one.
Yeah, they did.
I haven't seen it.
In our own time.
I knew that.
Okay.
And then I wound up like on the whole British track, and I thought Duran Duran would be a good band.
Okay.
And that got me thinking about like other British acts, like Blur, Oasis, things like that. But bands, the number one band I really want to see one of, Fleetwood Mac.
Okay,
that'd be cool.
Okay.
Drugs, relationships within the band, great music all around. From the album Rumors, which is like one of the greatest albums ever released. Period, bar none.
Okay.
And then just for fun, because so many people were in it, Chicago.
Okay. See.
And since you said it doesn't necessarily have to be a band, it can be a group. You gotta have a biopic of Wu-Tang.
You know what's so funny? When I first
Wu-Tang.
came up with this, like Wu-Tang was the first thing that popped in my head, and I was like, no. I should have stuck with that now. But no, I'm glad I didn't. Anything else you want to add to that? Like any other reasonings why or anything like that?
Oh, I could keep going all night with this, so I'm gonna cut myself off.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. Mine would be, because you were talking about going off the English bands and stuff like that, mine would be Muse. And if anybody knows me personally, they know that I love Muse. And
I kind of thought that you were going to pick Muse.
Yeah, probably.
Like when I was scrolling through, because I have so many bands in my music collection, just to pick one was not. And I'm like scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. So I'm like, I have a feeling he's going to pick Muse.
Yeah, pretty much. I tossed up a few others before that, but then I finally settled on them because I kept going back to it, and I was like, I'm like, they're probably my favorite band still playing today, so I'm like, I'm gonna pick them. For those who don't know, Muse, they're an English rock band from England, and they don't seem to have a lot of like controversy and shit like that behind the scenes like some other groups do.
Yeah, they kind of just fly under the radar.
Right, pretty much. Yeah, it's like they release the album, they go do their tours, and then they just kind of disappear again for a while. You don't really hear much about them. The only thing of note really is that the lead singer, he dated American celebrity for a while. I forget the girl's name off the top of my head. But either way, that's not important because I wouldn't even want it to be, because I kind of cheated.
Right.
I don't want it to be like a biography about them. I want it to be kind of like, if you've ever seen the movie Across the Universe, where it's a story that's based around Beatles songs. So the movie isn't about the Beatles or any actual living or dead people. It's just they're telling a story using those songs that the band did. So I would want to see something like that where it's its own independent movie, and then they're using the band's songs to tell a story in that narrative that way.
Right.
So I kind of cheated with this one. Sorry.
Nah, it's okay.
But yeah, no, I would want to see that because it wasn't. I think everybody to some degree, unless you learn about a group from one of your friends or from like the radio or something, I think everybody to a degree feels like they discovered, somebody like, this is small little band and I've been listening to and this and the other. But when I heard one of their songs playing in the Twilight movie,
okay.
Like, do you remember the Twilight movie?
No, I didn't. I saw the first one and that was
okay.
against my will.
I think it is the first one. The scene where they're playing baseball. You don't remember? Okay.
It was against my will, okay? I wasn't paying attention.
Well, there's a scene where they're playing baseball and they play a Muse song, and I think in every one after that they play a one Muse song at some point in the movies. And I was like,
Okay,
please
that's
don't make
cool.
me associate Twilight with my band that I like, because now you're going to ruin it for me. I don't have anybody, some British, I don't know, Benedict Cumberbatch or somebody, like, I don't know who would play whatever, just one of them British dudes, I don't know. Who else is British? Superman, get Henry Cavill, and who else is British?
Isn't Tom Holland?
Yeah, just get Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, and Superman to play
There you
Muse. And there you go.
There you go. I had a couple of honorable mentions.
Sure.
Guns N' Roses.
Oh, okay. Wait, they don't have one?
I couldn't find one, but
That was my issue, is that I would think of some, and I'm like, oh, they already got a movie about them.
I was unsure about them. The Chili Peppers.
Okay.
The Foo Fighters.
Oh, okay. Does Nirvana have one?
I don't know.
Because
I thought
you
about
could have
Nirvana
like a double
too.
feature with Nirvana and Foo Fighters.
Yeah,
since the
that'd
drummer's
Well, yeah.
pretty legit.
No, yeah, Dave.
Yeah.
Well, if you're gonna go that route too with Guns N' Roses, you have to talk about L.A. Guns.
Right.
Okay.
And then everybody's gonna hate me for this one, but I don't care.
What?
Nickelback. Hey, everybody shits on Nickelback, and I have loved them since day one.
You know what? I could probably do you one better. Creed.
You know, that was another one. Don't look at me like that. T Money and I were discussing the two of them as we were driving here. So.
Oh, that's funny.
I like Leader of Men. That's the only Nickelback song I like.
Okay.
Menudo.
All right.
Yeah. New Edition.
There you go. Right.
There you go.
Right,
That'd be all right.
New Kids on the
Can we
Block.
get a Kid and Play biography? I'd be
There
down
we
for
go.
that.
Digital Underground.
Find Young
Oh,
Cannibals.
yeah. Actually, that would be.
Oh, there
good.
we go.
Digital Underground would be a pretty good one, though.
My name is Humpty.
All around the world.
Oh
same
God!
song.
Oh, I would totally watch.
See, I
that.
told you we can go all night with this, man.
Oh yeah, that was good. That was good. I enjoyed that one.
Well, actually, Van Halen then, since they had two front.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
No.
Now,
I mean, I'm done, but I'm not.
Okay.
Going.
All right, moving on. It was a slow news week this week, so thank you. It only took 3 times. And I wanted to have something else to throw in here at the end, something fun that we could do, just kind of like a mental exercise. Now, I kind of stole this idea from a meme that I've seen going around for a while of basically like recasting the Avengers movies in like the 70s and 60s and stuff, and they'd have like Sean Connery as Tony Stark and all this kind of stuff. So I basically wanted to do that, but with the Fast and Furious franchise.
I've been actually eager to hear your list.
Okay.
Ben's list for this one because one, I want to see if you guys picked different actors and actresses that I picked, and I also want to see like how close.
Oh, like who we cast as each person?
How close you could get it to the personality of that character that we all know on the screen since 2001.
Sure.
So I also only did a few of them, so I don't know how far you guys went.
I did just like the main characters, basically.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how many of the main characters you guys pulled out.
Yeah, basically my rule when I was casting it to myself was they had to have appeared in more than one movie. Like, I don't want, the villain from Tokyo Drift is like, no, I'm not doing them. Or the main character from the southern dude from Tokyo Drift. Like,
yeah,
we're not putting Bow Wow's character in here. I mean, you can if you want to, but I did not. No, now I'm actually kind of mad I didn't cast Bow Wow.
Whatever.
But, Gary Coleman is Little Bow Wow. No, that's fucked up. So, does anybody want to go first?
I think that one of you guys should go first.
Okay. Benoit, do you want to go or do you want me to go first?
You're the host, man. Lead off.
Okay, all right. So mine, like I said, not only did I set the rule that they had to be at least in more than one film, and be one of the protagonists. I also try to match the ethnicity of the characters.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to. I didn't want to cast, because it was hard to, especially because of the decade that I picked, the 80s. I didn't want to just cast a bunch of white dudes, as the characters who are mostly either, black or of some kind of Hispanic origin. So I felt like it would be disingenuous to not do it that way. Now, if you didn't, that's fine. That's no judgment.
No, actually, I did pretty okay.
Okay, so then, that's why I'm worried, like, we might have some of the same actors with some of these characters. But okay.
Some of them are pretty, whitewashed, but for the most part.
Sure.
I did good.
Okay. So, alright, so to start off, I'm Dominic Toretto. Okay, this is Vin Diesel's character. Okay, I have Lou Diamond Phillips.
Okay, alright.
As Brian O'Connor, who is Paul Walker's character. I have Richard Gere.
Okay.
All right. Now these are young. This is like 30 years ago.
Sure. Not
kids,
now.
so,
Not current.
This is the 80s. So look these people up in the 80s. As Luke Hobbs, who is played by The Rock currently, I would have Carl Weathers.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Apollo Creed himself.
I actually thought about him.
Okay. All right. In the role of Roman Pierce, who is Tyrese's character, I have Eddie Murphy.
No!
Okay. As Letty, who is Michelle Rodriguez, I have Rosie Perez.
Okay.
As Letty.
Okay.
As
you sunk my battleship.
As I think is it Tej Parker?
Tej Parker.
Okay. Who is Ludacris's character? I have Malcolm Jamal Warner.
Okay, look at you.
Oh, Theo. Okay,
Yep.
Theo.
All right.
As Deckard Shaw, who is Jason Statham. I have Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Okay. All right.
I didn't try very hard on that. I was like, who was a karate dude that was popular in the 80s? Yeah, he.
You could have used Steven Seagal too.
Nah. Even young Steven Seagal wasn't never all that impressive to me. But that's just my own personal
Okay,
thing.
anyways.
I've never liked Steven Seagal. Anyway. As Mia Toretto, Dominic's sister, which I forget the actress name that plays Mia. Anyway.
Jordana Brewster.
Yes.
Jordana Brewster, thank you. I actually have Selma Hayek.
Okay.
As Mia Toretto.
That's a good fit. I like that one.
As Giselle Yashar, who is currently, or was, because I think she's dead in the movies now, played by Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman. I got Jennifer Connelly.
Okay.
Playing her.
All right.
And then as Han, I have Robin Schull, I think is how you say his name.
Okay.
Basically the dude who played Liu Kang in the Mortal Kombat movies.
Got you.
Boom. That's my Fast and Furious. I was trying to think of a director from the 80s, and I was like, probably somebody like James Cameron or some shit like that. Like, we'll go with him.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my cast.
Okay. You only stole one of mine, so that's pretty cool.
I think from the way it sounded, I got one from each of y'all.
Yeah,
so,
yep.
Yeah. Now I'm curious if it's in the same role as well as that actor or not. But go ahead.
Well, Eddie Murphy was my Roman Pierce.
Okay.
He just worked.
Yeah, I mean, because I was like, okay,
because he's got to be smooth, but he's got to be able to be funny.
Exactly, and plus to the time period, because I wanted so bad to use Chris Tucker, but I was like, I don't think he was doing stuff.
90s.
Yeah, that I kind of cheated though. As long as they had did something by at least 89, I was like, I'm using them.
I stuck with strictly 80s.
Okay.
Strictly 80s people. So for my Brian O'Connor, I've got Christian Slater.
Okay, that's actually pretty good. Okay.
For Mia, I went Winona Ryder.
Okay.
Dominic, I had Mr. Bruce Willis.
Interesting choice. Okay. Interesting.
He was the hard one, actually. Okay. Tej Parker, I had Denzel Washington.
I can't believe I didn't think of Denzel. That was good. Okay.
For Letty, I had Michelle Pfeiffer. Not that the the people match at all. But
Sure,
Michelle
sure.
Pfeiffer would be a badass.
I think so.
And
Sure.
Letty's badass, so
Okay.
that was where I was going with that one.
Yeah, you get that Batman Returns Michelle Pfeiffer. I'm with it. Yeah, okay, I'm with it.
For Hobbs, I had Josh Brolin. But I kind of... Josh Brolin now, not Josh Brolin
Yeah,
in the
because I
80s.
think you cheating, because I'm like, Josh Brolin is jacked now compared to what he was back then. That motherfucker's juicing.
And I did Vince was my other one that I pulled out. The best friend Vince, he was in the first one, and he was in a couple of the other ones.
Sure, okay.
Dom's best friend Vince.
Okay.
I did Ron Perlman.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, now do you got a director in mind too, or? No?
Probably. I think I had thrown Cameron's name around there, so probably James Cameron.
Okay. Okay, that's fair. Steven Spielberg presents.
Well, I thought about
Fast
that
and
too,
the
and I was
Furious.
like, no.
Right, from the man who brought you Jaws and Jurassic Park
And
comes.
E.T.
Right.
No.
Oh shit! Quentin Tarantino presents the Oh god.
Right.
No. God no. No, there'd be so many N-bombs
I
in that
didn't
movie
hear
couldn't
any booing from
do. Benoit. Yeah.
Benoit,
so I'm
so
guessing.
I didn't take any of his.
Yeah, I'm guessing there was no crossover there at least.
Well, you see, I did not realize we were going to use the current franchise. I went back to the original Fast and the Furious.
Okay.
Oh, just the
And
first
so I
movie?
only
Oh, okay.
cast
That's fine.
Yeah, so I really only casted the first 4.
That's okay.
Okay, that's totally fine. You get to pick as many or as little as you liked. I didn't set real defined parameters.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to start from the top. Brian O'Connor, played by Paul Walker. Rest in peace. C. Thomas Howell.
Okay.
All right,
Anybody?
remind me
okay.
who that is, because I think is he the guy from Weird Science?
No, he was in The Outsiders. Pony Boy.
Oh, okay, yes, okay, all right, good pick. Okay,
Now, these weren't super serious. They get kind of
Sure.
weird. Vin Diesel, Telly Savalas.
Telly Savalas. Well, what was he in?
You don't know Telly Savalas?
No.
The name's not matching a face for me.
Kojak. Kojak.
Oh shit. Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. Okay. All right.
Might have been a little bit older than the role he played.
Sure.
Whatever.
All right. Sure.
Well, since I lost Rosie Perez to you, I figured we're going to cast Michelle Rodriguez's character is going to end up being Irene Cara from Fame.
Okay. All right.
And Jordana Brewster, his
Mia.
girlfriend, Paul Walker's girlfriend.
Mia.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I figured she could be Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And I had a couple other names I thought of putting in these roles, but I figured, what the hell, let's stick with these ones.
Yeah, I kind of went back and forth on a few of them because honestly, picking Dominic Toretto I think was the hardest for me.
Yeah.
Like I was like, well, who could be a Vin Diesel in the 80s? And so I was like, sure, Lou Diamond Phillips, I guess. I almost went your route though and went like a different ethnicity and switched it. I almost had it changed like 4 different times. It was going to be Mel Gibson. It was almost Al Pacino. It was almost Michael Douglas.
I want to say Gibson was my Roman alternate, and then I started thinking about it. I'm like, no, I can't cast Roman as a white dude.
Donald, damn it,
Danny
Danny
Glover.
Glover. Shit, see, I was
Yeah, I
confused.
had him on there too.
I'm like Donald Joe Damn Daddy is confused.
Lawrence Fishburne, he was an alternate for me.
Oh yeah,
As
I forgot about
Tej.
Lawrence Fishburne. Damn.
Or Sam Jackson as Hobbs.
Yeah.
And then
Well, I mean, if you're going to talk 80s, you got to say Forrest Whitaker.
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
he'd have been a good one too.
I got a text from T-Money. It says Tom Cruise as Brian.
Oh, I almost picked him too. That was a good
De
one.
Niro as Dom.
Yeah, okay, yep,
I can see that. Gary Coleman as Rome. Mr. T as Tej.
Oh, that'd be so funny.
Molly Ringwald is Mia.
Okay.
And Alyssa Milano is Letty.
Okay.
She'd have been too young.
Yeah, she might have been a little bit young in the 80s. Like because she's only like in her 40s now.
I think so.
Alyssa Milano. Well, let's see. Who's the Boss debuted? I think in 80. It went 84 to 92.
So yeah,
and she was like 10.
Yeah,
sure. She's got to be in her early to mid 40s. She's not much older than us, like a decade or so.
And she's still.
Oh yeah.
Too.
Oh totally.
You are a beautiful young woman, Alyssa Milano.
Oh, for sure.
In case she hears this, she won't. But
no, she's a friend of the show. She listens all the time.
Yep, she's 45.
45. Okay. All right, that makes sense.
But I mean, his list was pretty good.
No, that was actually really good. There was a couple that you had to refresh me on because there was a few actors I was going through and I was just looking at names and I was like, who the fuck is that? And I had to look up like their little like filmography real quick on IMDb because I was like, I don't know who the fuck this is.
Well, since Jordana Brewster plays Mia, I was thinking about being like a joke and saying Soleil Moon Frye.
Oh, nice.
Punky Brewster.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Don't. There's some logic.
No, totally.
I also had Linda.
My cast will
Linda
be
Carter as my alternate Letty.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the original Wonder Woman. Okay.
And then I had John Cusack thrown in there as an alternate Brian.
That would have been good, actually. I could have totally seen that. Yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah, I went back and forth. I'm like, Christian Slater or John Cusack? Unfortunately, that was the easy one. The rest of them were kind of difficult. Well, I don't know. I threw Denzel right in there. He was first one that came to my mind.
I'm mad at myself for not thinking of him.
How do you not think about Denzel?
Right, just in general.
Christian Slater. Christian Slater can play a better badass than John Cusack. Cusack always brings some kind of levity.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's always kind of like that quirky.
That was kind of why I ended up going with Slater, just because, Broken Arrow.
Yeah, he was the more action-y badass of the,
T-Money said that John Malkovich was his alternate for Dom.
Nice.
T-Money.
Oh yeah.
Terry Crews is going to come after
the boyfriend, not the rapper.
Yeah. No, you weren't here for that episode. Yeah. Well, no. You didn't do the Halloween review because you didn't see it with us. Yeah. DJ Mellomel's boyfriend joined us, and we ended up giving him a nickname because everybody gets a nickname on the show except Amber. Amber's just Amber. So I've tried, but she won't even let me come up with something. I was like, all right, fine, be Amber. Anyway, moving on. So it is a dark day in pop culture. Now this happened yesterday. Stan Lee has passed. He was 95 years old. He died at the hospital, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They took him to the hospital early Monday morning, and he didn't make it till dinner time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Stan Lee. He was actually born Stanley Martin Lieber, is his actual name. On December 28th, 1922, he was an American comic book writer, editor, and publisher. He was the editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics and later its publisher and chairman, leading its expansion from a small division of a publishing house to a large multimedia corporation. In collaboration with several artists, particularly Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko, he co-created fictional characters including Spider-Man and the Hulk and more. In doing so, he pioneered a more complex approach to writing superheroes in the 1960s and in the 70s, challenged the standards of the Comics Code Authority, and directly leading it to updating its policies. Following his retirement from Marvel, he remained a public figurehead for the company and frequently made cameo appearances in movies based on Marvel characters. Meanwhile, he continued independent creative ventures into his 90s until his death in 2018. Lee was inducted into the comic book industry's Will Eisner Award Hall of Fame in 1994 and the Jack Kirby Hall of Fame in 1995. He received a National Medal of Arts in 2008. for those who may not be into, comics all like that, I think everybody to some degree or another, even if you just know the name, know who Stan Lee is.
My grandma didn't, though.
Oh, well, okay.
Like, my mom did, and
Sure.
my mom is the one that actually told me. She sent it to me on Facebook, and then I started digging, and I was finding stories everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But my grandma, it was on the news. We were all watching the news after dinner.
Sure.
We had family dinner, and she's like, I don't know who that is. Who is that? She's like, I've been seeing him all over Facebook. I'm like,
no.
I said, you're hurting me here. You're hurting me.
So, yeah, Stan, we had been kind of making jokes about this a few months back on the show, but, about how, when he dies, we're all going to just cry and all this shit. And I mean, I did get kind of choked up about it because it made me sad, but also I didn't want this to be something like dour and depressing. Like, I wanted to celebrate his life because he would have wanted something like that. Like, he was always like this, he's all Excelsior and all that shit, like True Believers and like, Stan was always cool. And like, anytime I would see him at conventions and shit, like not personally, but like on YouTube and stuff like that, like he always seemed like he always liked engaging the fans and, was always grateful for people being so enthralled in these characters that he created because...
Well, he created them for people that, were going through stuff. I just saw in, I don't know, the last 24 hours, a documentary where he's like, I wanted to create somebody, these characters have flaws.
Yeah.
Because they relate to us and we're human and we have flaws. And at the end of the day, most of these characters are human to some extent.
Yeah.
My friend, I have a friend in Texas and she actually got to meet him.
Oh, nice.
The last Comic-Con he did in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
So like 2-3 years ago. And she's got a picture with him. And she posted this big long post about how he was a great guy and, he had changed her life. And then she finally got to meet him and yada yada. And I was like, that's cool. Because I always wanted to meet him.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure.
And never had the chance to.
No, Stan, to hit on the points that you're making there, Stan... One of the big distinctions between Marvel Comics and DC Comics for a lot of people is the fact that, and this isn't to try and stir up no fanboy war or no shit, but the Marvel comic book characters feel more like people, and DC characters feel more like gods.
Right.
Like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and all them, like they feel like more than, men and women.
Right.
Whereas,
and they're kind of portrayed as such.
Yeah. Where yes, they have complex stories and stuff like that, but it's like they're above a lot of like trivial shit that, say, Tony Stark or Bruce Banner or Peter Parker would. Like, for example, like when Stan was writing these characters and the time he was writing them in, he always tried to make it a point to give them some kind of angle of what was going on in society at the time. Like, for example, the X-Men, the whole, meta narrative of the X-Men is that they are basically a metaphor for the civil rights movement.
Right.
And in more recent years, any like disenfranchised groups like minorities or, transgender, homosexual, stuff like that. Like that's what they represent. They're this outsider group who the rest of the world fears because they don't understand them because they're different.
Yep.
And Professor X is kind of like the Martin Luther King of that universe, and Magneto is the Malcolm X of that universe, where they both have the same goal, but they have different means about how they're willing to get there.
Sure.
Like, Magneto is more, hey, we take it by force, whereas Professor X is like, no, we got to do this through peace and, you know, understanding and all that fun stuff. And he was basically the father of what we know Marvel to be today.
Right.
He built foundations, decades ago that he could have had no idea what it would turn into, 40, 50 years later.
Sure.
I mean, at that time, they were probably paying him like, $10 a character or whatever. And he's just like, yeah, there's a kid, that gets bit by a spider. He's Spider-Man. It's just like, it's like, at that point,
he said that the influence or the inspiration for Spider-Man came from a fly on the wall.
Exactly. So it wasn't like he was doing some deep, like philosophical this, that, and the other. But once he established the characters, he did make it a point to tell stories with them that actually meant something and had some merit to it. And it wasn't just like, hey, I just need a character this week to write this dumbass book and get this paycheck so I can go home and feed my wife and kids and shit. Like it was a job, but it turned into its own.
It was one he took seriously.
Yeah, and it became its own mythology in time.
Right.
But yeah, no, Stan has built what we know today to be Marvel Comics. Like, this is just some of the characters that Stan is responsible for co-creating. Obviously Spider-Man, the Incredible Hulk, Black Widow, Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Galactus, Groot, obviously Mary Jane Watson, Black Panther, which is a big one. That is a character that he came up with during the whole civil rights movement and when the real Black Panthers were a thing and stuff like that. So, like I said, he tried to make these characters serve some kind of commentary on what was happening at the time. Hawkeye, the Punisher, Dr. Octopus, the Kingpin, Red Skull, Doctor Doom, Nick Fury, Professor X, Magneto, Jameson, and, the Fantastic Four, that whole thing.
Right.
Like, there were a lot of firsts, and a lot of his characters felt really human because they had faults and things that people could relate to, like Spider-Man. He was a high school kid. He has, issues relating to people socially, keeping a girlfriend, having money, bills, and stuff like that. Tony Stark. Yes, he's super smart and he has a lot of money and stuff, but he has problems with his own adequacy issues, and he has issues with alcoholism and shit like that. Bruce Banner, his whole thing is almost like an allegory on domestic violence. Yeah. And like self-acceptance and stuff like that, because the Hulk is kind of like a metaphor for him losing control, and his significant other fears him, and what would happen when he's like that and stuff like that. And they don't play it up a lot, but in like the more modern like Hulk comics, they've kind of played with the idea of it's kind of like that, if you have that parent that gets mean when they drink and that kind of shit, like that's what the Hulk is supposed to be.
Right.
So, yeah, it was just dumb shit that he was churning out at the time, but at the same time, like you said, he took it seriously enough to where he tried to make it mean something on more than just like a superficial level. I'm getting this part from Polygon.com. He did have some issues as well. Like, it wasn't all just Excelsiors and True Believers, but disputes over his credit and royalties riddle the history of superhero comics, something that applies, albeit to a lesser extent, to Lee himself, who doesn't hold the rights to the characters he co-created. As Lee told CNN upon the debut of The Avengers back in 2012, he said, "I hate to admit this, but I do not share in the movie's profits. His position as executive producer on Marvel's films, according to the same interview, is just an honorary title. Lee signed away any film rights in 1998, according to the Hollywood Reporter, meaning that he won't receive any of the millions that Infinity War has made and will make. However, in this aspect at least, Lee has actually been unusually lucky. The 1998 deal landed him a reported $10 million and a lifetime salary of $1 million a year from Marvel." So, since
he's
98,
not getting the royalties, but he's still getting $1 million every year from 98.
They cut him a check for $1 million every year. But to be honest, and I mean, Benoit, you're the numbers guy. I would assume no matter what percentage he got, because from 98 to 2018, that's what?
20 years.
20 years?
21 years. 21.
Okay.
Gotta count 98.
Okay. So that's $20 million.
Right.
I'm sure he would have probably netted more than that if he was just getting like a 1% of the gross that, you know, these Marvel movies make. Because Black Panther and Infinity War this year alone made $3 billion between the two of them.
Right.
Almost 4. So I'm like, yeah, it's cool that he's getting $1 million every year, but at the same time,
they're kind of jipping him.
Yeah, he's kind of getting fucked.
I honestly think at the point in 98, he didn't need it.
Sure.
So, I mean...
Kind of yes and no, because around that time, Marvel was going bankrupt as a company, and that's how they ended up selling the rights off to Spider-Man and Fantastic Four and all that shit to Fox and Sony back in the 90s because they were going through bankruptcy, and this was their way to kind of pull themselves out of that. That's why Blade came out in like the mid to late 90s, you know, before like X-Men and shit came out in the early 2000s and all that, because they had sold the rights off to those characters, and so Blade was the first one that got made, and then, you know, more came after that.
I always forget that Blade's a Marvel.
Oh, hell yeah.
And Ghost Rider. I always forget he's Marvel too.
Yeah. No, Blade was a shit. Blade.
I love Blade. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, people always blame X-Men started it. No, bitch,
Blade
started this bullshit.
Right. I mean, I love Blade. And
sure.
The 3 movies, well, 2's kind of meh. 3's hilarious.
Well, even back in the 70s, you know, Hulk Hogan actually had to pay Marvel to use the rights.
Yep,
he did.
Yep. Hell yeah. Look, or like Stan Lee said, fucking pay me. He's like, you can't use that shit without fucking paying me. And he's like, look, it might be some old, you know, comic book bullshit, but he's like, you gonna cut me a check, you put Hulk Hogan in your name.
So even arguably the biggest wrestler of all time was paying royalties to Marvel.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, Stan got paid for, you know, his like convention visits and that kind of shit too. It wasn't like, you know, he was just living and dying off of those, you know, Marvel paychecks.
Right.
Like he had his own income coming in. He had a couple shows for a while. Like, I don't know if you remember that Stan Lee's Who Wants to Be a Superhero show.
No, but I do remember.
I heard of it, but I didn't watch it.
Did he do the superhero comic book stripper show?
Yeah, Stripperella.
Stripperella?
Yeah. It was based off Pamela Anderson.
Yeah.
That was his whole thing.
I remember that.
Yeah, I was like, is it just me, or does Stan Lee, just as the person, doesn't he remind you of like a nerdy, like Hugh Hefner or some shit?
Yes.
Like that's the way Stan always came off.
And you know
to
what's funny? T-Money actually just said this yesterday. We lost both Hugh Hefner and Stan Lee in the same year.
No, that's crazy as hell. No. You know what I thought of? When you text me and said Stan Lee died, you know the first thing I thought of. You should know the first thing I thought of. They killed Spider-Man, and he died right after that shit. I was like, you sons of bitches. They killed Spider-Man back in, what, June?
Yeah.
July, some shit? Stan Lee didn't even make it to the end of the fucking year. See, that's what fucking happens. They fucked up. I was like, when you were talking about that meme with Thanos snapping his finger and shit, and I was like, he killed Stan too. God damn it. He took them both out in one fell swoop. Spider-Man and Stan just went to the dust in the wind. But, no. Towards the end, though, he did have some like drama besides the whole like royalties and stuff like that, though. There were claims of like elder abuse and stuff like that, like within his household, and it was kind of some shit like his daughter and like his managers and shit were like trying to take advantage of him, and they were fighting over his estate and, you know, going to court and calling the police and all this other kind of crazy shit. But this one particular thing I wanted to mention, there was a lawsuit, about this guy who was this memorabilia collector and how they were trying to use Stan to make money. Okay. No, you gotta hear this shit out. So I'm getting this from Polygon.com as well. It says the lawsuit also describes a diabolical and ghoulish scheme in which Lee's blood was extracted by a nurse to be sold as a collectible item. According to the lawsuit, the blood was then mixed with ink and used to create a stamp of Lee's autograph, enabling Olivares to sell collectible comics signed with Lee's own blood. Olivares, I know, that's fucked up. Olivares hasn't denied selling this blood, but does claim that he had the consent of Lee and his physician to extract it. He told The Hollywood Reporter that it was part of a smear campaign by Kaya Morgan, who was Stanley's manager, to make a cool merchandising idea sound like something sinister. No, motherfucker. That sounds fucked up no matter how you say it. You can't tell me like, oh, you know, we put the ashes of Leonardo da Vinci in this candle or some shit to make this wick. Like, no, motherfucker, like, that sounds like some, like, slippery ass black market type shit.
That sounds like, hey, when he's in the ambulance on the way, by the way, I need a couple vials of his blood. Right. We're gonna put it on the DL here, so don't tell nobody.
Right. Oh, we got to do some independent testing on this, so I need a couple vials of his. Like, what the fuck?
It's like is weird.
Like, look, no doctor worth they fucking salt is gonna risk losing a fucking medical license by extracting blood from a patient and giving it to you to go try and make money off it or some shit. Like, hell no. Now, maybe if he had a...
And if you got consent, man, there's gonna be a document.
Yeah, like there would be a paper trail or some shit like that. Like you can't just be like, oh no, they said it was cool. Stan was totally cool with it. He was like, Excelsior! I just got to taking it out. It was all good. Like, no.
No. You would have to have a very extensive paper trail.
Yeah.
And signed by multiple witnesses.
Yes.
And Stan, all at the same time. No, that's...
Right, we're holding up today's newspaper with a clock and shit and everything else. Like,
even as much of a fan as I am, and
I couldn't even
all
imagine...
of the celebrities that have passed this year.
Sure.
Stanley kind of, hurt me in the feels.
Sure.
But no way in hell do I want something signed by him in his blood. No. That is the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah, man. That and this is my thing.
How do you keep it from being like? I know they said they mixed it with ink, but how do you? Blood is blood, regardless of whether it's dried, fresh. It still contains stuff that can make you sick.
Yeah, I mean,
how are you going to prevent that?
I mean, don't lick the book, I guess. Yeah, but no. But my thing is this. You don't even actually have to do that.
No.
Like, that just sounds like a scam type shit that somebody says, like, oh, and we have the hairs of Jesus in this cloth if you buy it today,
right.
and pray over it. Like, how would you even test to see if there was blood in the ink on the stamp? You could just say, Stan Lee's blood is in this ink. Like, who's gonna know the difference?
Yeah, ain't nobody gonna be running specialized tests.
Right, so I was like, he could have just said that shit. Like, you didn't actually have to, like, extract blood. Yeah, I was like, that whole thing sounded just weird to me. So, I just said all that to say, I'm kind of glad that Stan went when he did, because in his old age, especially his wife just died last year too.
Yep.
I think that people were just starting to take advantage of him, and he was just sick of this bullshit, and he was just ready to go. Like,
I'm sure.
He had been married to his wife for almost 70, I think it was 69 years.
Yeah, something like that.
And so, after she left, he was like, I'm good. Like I've made my money, I've done my thing, like, I'm out. And just went out on a high note. It's just sad, because knowing that after we see whatever Avengers Part 4 is going to be called, that'll probably be the last time we see Stan Lee in a Marvel movie.
We were talking about that on the way here, actually. We were trying to figure out. So he was in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And then that came out after Avengers.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So the next one that comes out is Miss Marvel. Or Captain Marvel?
Yes, actually, Captain Marvel. And so he'll probably be in that, yeah.
That is already far enough along that he's probably already made his cameo.
Oh, yeah,
and called it good.
I'm pretty sure he's done his one for the new Avengers, too.
For the Avengers, too. So, like, what the Marvel that's coming out after that?
Maybe Spider-Man Far From Home.
I thought maybe because they're supposed to be...
But if not, I'm going to be so sad. Like, he ain't going to be in... He's been in every just about Marvel movie, but definitely every Spider-Man movie. I don't know how I feel about that. Because I'm still kind of leery of the whole CG and people who aren't living anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, because I feel like that's kind of a slippery
I'll say that slope. I heard they're CG and Paul Walker in the new Fast and Furious.
Wait, again?
Yeah, like, more involved. He's got, like, an actual role.
Oh, no. See...
I don't know.
See, I'll be so mad if that actually happens, because then you completely have taken away the whole point of the last movie he was in, and that whole ending where the road splits and they drive off in a different direction.
Yep.
It's like, you can't then turn around and be like, but Paul's back. Like, no.
There's internet rumor, and
I'll be mad as hell.
We gotta wait till April to see, but
I'll be mad as hell, and I'll be mad at Vin Diesel. Like, this was low. Like, you didn't have to do this. Like, the last one was successful without him being in it. You didn't have to go back and try and.
I don't think Vin Diesel has any control over it.
This is baby. Like, he produces all these movies.
At this point, they've got him contracted out, though.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he'd have threw a fit on social media or some shit before he'd let some shit. Because he was the main one out there, like, we was family and all that shit. It's like, all right, motherfucker, y'all ain't that damn close.
You can't be family. You come back to me,
right,
boy.
Exactly. But, no, anything else on Stan before we go, though?
No. Just rest in peace. That's it.
You've touched a lot of people. You've done a lot of good. It's time for your soul to be laid to rest. You're loved. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
That is it for the show, guys. Remember, you can always find us at our home, onegiantleapforgeeks.libsyn.com, or on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Music, or really anywhere else you get your podcast. Make sure to show us some love, so go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, rate, follow, review, and all that shit.
And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, criticisms, you just want to say hi, you can always email us at officialoglfg@gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter at GiantLeap4Geeks. We're on Facebook, Reddit, Pinterest, Instagram. No, not Pinterest. But just search for One Giant Leap for Geeks. All right, you guys have a good night. Bye.